Oh, we had some cracking matches today. Day 6 of Wimbledon is done and dusted, wrapped up, and we had some incredible matches, some great upsets. Were there? Well, you have to stay tuned. Before we get into it, though, remember to that like button. Do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. There were some really good matches on today, I have to say, and I know I've said it already twice, so don't kill me in the comment section, but I mean it, I genuinely do. Watching a lot of tennis today, of course, given us the weekend as well, so fantastic to watch so many matches, and you know what, it was an absolute pleasure, and hopefully I'll be able to give you guys a little bit of analysis on some of them as well. We'll still try and keep it under the 10-minute mark, so let's get into it. So, the only match that wasn't completed on the men's side was Dimitrov versus TFO, which is a massive shame. Dimitrov, though, did take the two first sets against TFO, so he was 2 sets to love up, 2-1 in the third set to TFO, I think, on serve, though. And I was a little bit surprised because I thought TFO would be able to come out and win it. Now, given the break, it might favor TFO tomorrow to be able to reset, and he's very good at being able to play deep into matches and play 4 or 5 sets, and his stamina normally holds up. So let's see. I think Dimitrov will be able to do something, but I think he's going to have his work cut out for him now, given that that break wouldn't have helped his cause, that's for sure. But he's still got the advantage, of course, 2 sets to love up. Berrettini impressed against Zverev. Look, barely any match practice in the last 3 months. He played, I think, 1 match against Sonego, which ironically beat Sonego, didn't he, in the first round of Wimbledon this year. But he lost to him. I think he was at Queens in the first round, and he looked really bad, like really, really bad. Didn't look good at all. Just didn't look fit enough by any stretch of the imagination. However, he looked good against Zverev. He did, and I have to say he's impressed. You see, 15 aces, first serve percentage of 68%, but look at that win percentage behind the first serve at 86% is very impressive. 2 tiebreakers as well, and he does play the tiebreak as well. We know that. Zverev will be disappointed, I think, to lose the way that he did. The first set, fine, Berrettini wins it with a break of serve, but 7-6, 7-6 to lose 2 straight tiebreakers, and given Zverev's serve as well, probably could have played those tiebreakers a bit better. Berrettini, though, has Alcaraz next. That would be a blockbuster. And look, I mean, I'm very impressed with his run because most players would need some sort of matches under their belt to play the level of opposition that he's played in the first few rounds. For Jabeur and Tsitsipas, well, Tsitsipas came through in straight sets, so he'll be happy about that after 2 very, very tough matches against Dominic Thiem and Andy Murray, 2 5-set thrillers. He's come through in straight sets. That will help him physically going forward, especially if he wants to go deep at SW19. And Holger Rune, I mean, he fought really hard here against Davidovich Fokina. He took the first set, and then the Spaniard won the next 2. So he was 2 sets to 1 down, took the 4th 6-4, and the 5th went to a final set tiebreak. And I have to say, Rune loves the final set tiebreaker, doesn't he? He doesn't always win all of them, but this one was in his favor. And Davidovich Fokina, he served an underarm serve at 8-all in the final set tiebreaker. If it'd come off, then everyone's going to be raving about it. It didn't. Rune hit a winner, and he tried to hit an underarm serve and volley Davidovich Fokina. Yeah, he got past. It's pretty easy pass as well for Rune, and he went on to win the next point to take the match. So, look, disappointing, of course, for the Spaniard, but a thrilling match nonetheless, and he is always a tough competitor, isn't he? He always gives his all. For Holger Rune, though, look, keep an eye out for him physically, because at Roland Garros, he played against Cerundolo, played 5 sets, and then the next match, of course, went on to lose. That was against Casper Ruud, though. Very, very solid opponent, of course, who made the final. But I do think it took a lot out of him. Now, I don't think he's got the stamina that some of the other experienced players like a Djokovic has, or maybe even a Medvedev and those types of players. He's still quite young, and I think maybe he's not used to playing this many sets of tennis in quick succession. So let's see. Maybe he's learned from the Roland Garros, and his team has learned from that Roland Garros run. And if they look after him well enough, he'll have he'll have a day and a half off, I guess, really. Maybe 2 days maximum. Then he might be okay. But let's see how he gets on. I'm intrigued now to see how he holds up for the rest of the tournament. Alcaraz played Jarry, and I have to say, I watched the whole match, and Nicolas Jarry played some really good tennis. He'll be a little bit disappointed because in that second set, he was a breakup, and then in the end, he managed to take the set and a tiebreaker 8-6. However, after that, in the final set, he took it 7-5. That's Alcaraz. Now, Jarry was 4-2 up in both the second and fourth sets. 4-2 up, and he got broken at 4-2 in both sets at the same moment in time. And it was weird because he was serving for 5-2, and you're just thinking 5-2 and the set's gone. Both times Alcaraz broke him back. The break of serve in the fourth set was a little bit weird because Alcaraz got a bit fortunate, a couple of shanked returns, and made it a bit awkward for Jarry, and he went long with one of the passing shots or approach shots, sorry, even. The fourth set, though, he then got broken at 5-all because he broke back in the end, and he fought really well. He served extremely well. You can see a 15 aces. I mean, 74% of first serves in, 72% win percentage behind the first serve. Second serve did get mauled a little bit by Alcaraz, but all in all, I thought he played really, really well. And look, played out of his skin at times. Definitely pushed Alcaraz. I think it should have gone to 5 sets. That's how well he was playing, and he had his chances. But Alcaraz, a little bit more clinical, and that's what the great players do. He came through in 4 sets. There's definitely some question marks. Keep an eye out for his serve for the rest of the tournament. Wasn't quite hitting his spots as well as he could have, I think. Although he did hit 12 aces, which is impressive. But first serve percentage of only 62%, 77% behind the first serve. But the biggest thing for me was the fact that in some of the big moments, he only made 5 out of 14 break points. So he had a lot of opportunities, but Jarry did serve well in some of those instances and did play some lights out tennis. But Alcaraz is going to come up against someone in a pretty similar ilk in Berrettini. Big server, big forehand. Jarry's backhand, I would say he likes to hit the backhand drive more than Berrettini. But Berrettini's slice is better than Jarry's slice. Both players pretty good at the net. I'd say Berrettini's quite good as well. They're similar ilk of player. So Alcaraz, I guess this is good practice for Berrettini, but he did struggle against this type of player on the grass. Good test. He's passed it. Let's see how he gets on, because that match against Berrettini is going to be an interesting one. I will be doing a preview for that as well, so keep an eye out for that. Medvedev beat Fucsovics. Great win for him, and he equals his record best result at Wimbledon, making the 4th round. He'll be looking, of course, to make the quarterfinals, and I think he should be able to. But we'll see. We'll see how he gets on, of course. Fucsovics seems to be that player who always has... He's just got a very, very solid game. Really, really solid game. And I think he's just a little bit off the world-class or elite players. He doesn't quite have that one really powerful attribute that stands out. But he's a solid, solid player, all-rounder as well on all surfaces. I'd like to see him make some more deeper runs. We'll see if he's able to. Well, on the women's side, Rybakina blew away Katie Boulter in the last match on centre court. Double breadstick to her. Shame for the Brits. And look, Rybakina is a defending champion. She's just a bit too strong, I think, skill set wise for Boulter at this stage. Jabeur beat Andreescu. What a match that was. I predicted 3 sets. We got 3 sets. Andreescu took the first set 6-3. Jabeur took the second and third 6-3, 6-4. Andreescu was actually a break-up in that final set. Jabeur recovered well. Andreescu, though, did make some mistakes. But positive signs for Andreescu going forward on grass. She's definitely got the game to succeed in some capacity on this surface. She's still quite young. Let's see how she gets on for the rest of her career, because I do think this is a surface she should be having more success on. But Jabeur is someone who made the final last year, of course. She's going to look to at least get to the final again. So she has a very tough match against Kvitova next, and we'll talk about Kvitova in a second. Madison Keys carried on her great form, an 8th successive victory on grass, 6-4, 6-1 after winning Eastbourne, of course, as well. Kostyuk had just beaten Sakkari and Badosa, so this is a really good victory. And look, I mean, that first set 6-4 was tight, then blew her away in the second set 6-1. Sabalenka carried on her good form, beating Blinkova 6-2, 6-3. She is my pick to win the title. I'll stick with it, but there's some amazing players still left in the draw. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether she's able to adjust to some of the players that she comes up against as the rounds go on. Kvitova, a two-time champion at Wimbledon, of course, beat Kostic 6-3, 7-5. She is a massive danger to anyone on this surface. She plays Ons Jabeur next. Ons Jabeur is going to be slicing a lot to that lefty forehand, I tell you that. I'll be doing a preview for that as well because I think it definitely deserves one. Looking forward to doing that. And Alexandrova beat Gauff 6-love, 6-4, a bagel to boot, loving it. And she's a danger on the grass, big serving, big hitting player. Okay, matches tomorrow. We've got Shapovalov and Safiullin, and of course, TFO and Dimitrov is going to be playing as well. I'm actually going to go left field for that one and say TFO is going to come out in 5 sets. Very left field. Let's see if it happens. I'm going to Shapovalov to beat Safiullin in 5 sets. I've got Bublik to beat Rublev in 4. I really like Bublik's game on grass. He's had a really good result at Halle as well. The Halle curse normally means you go out early. He's made the round of 16 or the 4th round. So this to me is a good sign of what's to come for Bublik. He's kind of got over that myth, if you will. For Rublev, though, he's pretty good on the grass. I mean, he has all the weapons to be successful on grass, apart from maybe the very solid net game. Bublik, though, I mean, he's got massive weapons. He's beat him in the final of Halle. Can he do the same thing? I'm going to go for it. Sinner to beat Galan in straight sets, and I'm going to go for Djokovic to beat Hurkacz in straight sets as well. I hope Hurkacz can do something because that should be a really exciting match. We're going to be covering it on the channel, so I'll be doing commentary for that, so do tune in for it. It's going to be an interesting match for sure. Hurkacz has a great game for grass. He's really good as well so far at Wimbledon, but Djokovic just tends to handle big serves really well, as do most of the elite players or the goats or the whatever you want to call it, big 4, big 3. Like all those players tend to handle big servers pretty well. Although you could say someone like an Nadal on grass has struggled in the past, but Djokovic on grass is a different proposition, I would say. In terms of the women's for tomorrow, we've got Vondrousova versus Buzkova. I'll go for Vondrousova to beat her. We've still got a 3rd round match, which is pretty poor, to be honest, in my opinion. But I'll go for Andreeva to beat Potapova. And then we'll go Pegula, Sarenka. I'll go Pegula in 3. Swiatek, Bencic, we're covering that as well. Anthony will be doing the comms for that. Keep an eye out for that one. It'll be a great match. I think Swiatek's going to win, but I think it'll be in 3 sets. I think Bencic can do something there. And Azarenka, Svitolina. Azarenka's been in really good form on grass. And look, I'm here for it because I didn't think it would happen. But I'm going to go for Azarenka. And I'm going to go for Azarenka in straight sets. Svitolina has played some really good tennis, especially in Grand Slams. I'm not convinced about her game on grass. Let's see how she gets on, though. In terms of star of the day, look, I mean, there's a lot of candidates for it. You could say Holger Rune, Berrettini, Alcaraz. On the women's side, of course, some really good victories as well. Jabeur, Rybakina, Sabalenka, Alexandrova, Kvitova. I'm going to go for Rybakina. It was a really clinical performance, 6-1, 6-1, against a crowd that clearly, of course, are cheering on the British world number 1. Bolter as well. She came out of the block swing. She took her service game really comfortably. It was 1-1 in that first set, and then she just blew her away for the next 5 games. She is playing some very good tennis, and any concerns that people like myself had about her fitness going into this have been completely dispelled. She's looking good. She's a danger. She's up there with the favorites. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to that like button. Do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Thank you, and shout out to our members. We'll see you tomorrow for the live stream watch-alongs and in the comment section. See you later.